Key is going first, and he opens with Dragon Sword appears.
Yep.
So since he has no Synchro monster on the field yet, so he will be adding a Swordsoul monster directly to his hand.
Correct. It's only if he controls a Synchro monster that he can add any worm monsters from the deck to the hand, right?
Correct.
So he has added Mo Ye, right? The Swordsoul Swordmaster. So Mo Ye's effect is Mo Ye is being summoned and is using his effect to reveal
a Swordsoul card.
Yeah.
And that allows him to special summon a Swordsoul token.
He revealed actually the Swordsoul Sudden Shift, which is a trap that works somewhat like the Icarus attack for Swordsoul itself. So he goes for a Synchro Summon. I guess it will be Chi Xiao, the Swordsoul Grand Swordmaster.
Yes.
Okay, one thing to know, I think they have already done it before, probably when they were shuffling each other's deck, is to actually review, not review the cards, but review the amount of cards that's in the deck, extra deck and side deck. Right, so he Synchro summons the Chi Xiao, the Swordsoul Grand Swordmaster, and he uses his effect to try to search.
Since Mo Ye was used as a Synchro material,
he can also
that allows him to draw a card.
Yeah.
So now after drawing a card, he can choose to decide what Swordsoul cards he will be adding to his hand.
Correct. To also mention, he actually banished one Swordsoul card from the deck also as well, instead of adding. So sometimes they might choose to banish the Sudden Shift so that it can actually bring out another token. So that could be a choice also as well.
But I think he'll be going for card advantage this time.
Yes.
That's the more popular choice.
Probably he might be adding Long Yuan to the hand, the Swordsoul Tactician. I guess he's adding Long Yuan.
Yes, indeed he has.
Right, this play is actually allows Long Yuan to special summon itself by discarding a worm or a Swordsoul
card.
Right, then he'll produce another token, which they can then go for a level 10 Synchro Summon. As we know, actually the Swordsouls, right, all of the main deck monsters are just non-tuners. Okay, so it's actually a surprise as Hokey actually goes to just set 2 cards at any instant, which we know one of the card is actually Swordsoul Sudden Shift. It's the other card that is a mystery to Wai Chong. So Wai Chong is playing Sky Strikers.
Alright. I think that's a pretty decent play, so he doesn't overextend and put himself at risk of a Nibiru. Correct.
Because if you take a look at this, okay, during game 1, it's very less likely for people to run token collectors against a Swordsoul matchup, right? So Nibirus are probably more mean deck against Swordsoul. Right, he activates Fusion Destiny first.
Yes.
So as we just mentioned just now, a Fusion and a Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is actually the one that helps to propel many decks over to A or even S tier in this current meta.
Hoikey has Ash Blossom for it.
Ah, yes. And do take note, because Fusion Destiny is you can activate this card once per turn. If it's being negated by Ash Blossom, you cannot activate another one because the activation is not negated. So Wai Chong actually responds with Mystic Mind, trying to seal off any other monster effects that can be played by Hoikey. Actually, have you wondered why didn't Wai Chong activate Mystic Mind first, then activate Fusion Destiny, so that his Fusion Destiny won't be negated by Ash Blossom actually, because the Hoikey controls one monster. But I guess maybe he wants to keep certain plays in the hand first. He doesn't want to reveal all his cards.
I think that puts him at risk of Sudden Shift, because if you do that, you will give him 2 cards on the field.
Correct. However, I felt that if Sudden Shift were to be activated, right, the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer can activate its effect to try to destroy another card, but it will also prompt the Chi Xiao to negate. Correct? But then I think it will have lost the Swordsoul, Hoikey will have actually lost more advantage. Because you need to target 1 worm monster and 2 cards. So at that point of time, probably even if the Mystic Mind gets destroyed, I think the advantage generated by Wai Chong is actually a lot more. He could have filtered 2 Destiny heroes that he might not want in the hand. Next turn, he might be out of ammo. He can use Celestial's effect to draw 2 if he runs Celestials in the deck. Let me just double check. Yeah, he runs Dasher and Celestial, the usual kit for a Destiny hero, Fusion Destiny deck itself.
So both players passes with no play.
Yep.
And now it's back to Wai Chun again.
Back to Wai Chun. It's quite fast actually.
Yes. Seems like he has drawn another Fusion Destiny.
Right. Actually, the Fusion Destiny was in the hand previous turn.
So
but he has a Widow Anchor.
Okay.
So he wants to negate Chi Xiao's effect first.
He doesn't have 3 spells in the graveyard yet, so
Correct.
he
Can't
only
take control.
applies the negation effect.
Correct. And at this point in time, it's actually very safe for Wai Chong to activate Fusion Destiny, but he goes for Rose, normal summoning Rose instead.
Fusion Destiny has a
Clause, right?
Yes, it has a effect that restricts you to only
Dark Hero monsters
Correct.
from the state can be
Special
special summon.
summon,
Yeah,
correct.
actually, it's Dark Hero monsters not only from the extra deck, it's from anywhere. Yeah, so as I was even playing a hero deck previously, I think I made a certain mistake after activating Fusion Destiny. I couldn't special summon my Stratos. I had to realize it later in the game.
In this case, since he wants to make his Sky Striker plays, so he has to go with Rose first.
Yes.
While holding Fusion Destiny.
Correct.
For a later part of the turn.
Correct. Then Hoiki activates Sudden Shift and targets his Worm monster and 2 cards on the field. So he targets the Mystic Mind and Rose, and both are being destroyed. So I guess Wai Chong is now going to play the backup plan, which is Fusion Destiny.
Yes.
Is there another Ash Blossom to counter this play? And he has it! He has it!
A second Ash Blossom for a second Fusion Destiny.
Yes.
What a play.
Yes, Hoiki really has the answers to the Fusion Destiny. As you know, the Fusion Destiny 1 is being activated and resolved. There's actually a tremendous amount of advantage that can be generated by Destroy, Phoenix, Enforcer.
So the turn is now back to Hoiki.
Yes.
He shifts through his graveyard looking at what options he has.
Correct. So we know in the graveyard he has a few stuff that can generate advantage for him, which is like, example, Sudden Shift. If he banishes it, it can produce a token. You have the Great Dragon Sword, right, that appears. This card allows you to change the level, I guess. Then you also have Chi Xiao, which he can revive if he happens to have the spell, such as the Xiang Jianmen, the Grand Spiritual Swordsoul Peak, that he'll be able to revive one Swordsoul monster in the grave.
We also know that he has added Long Yuan earlier on
correct.
turn 1. So that's a play that he could make.
Correct. But I think maybe he's withholding the play because he does not have anything to discard. Oh wait, he does. He has Tai R. Yes, he discards Tai R from the hand to special summon Long Yuan, and Long Yuan will then produce a level 4 Swordsoul token. He goes for level 10 Synchro Summon into the Baroness de Fleur, or I think in English translation is Fleur de Baroness.
Correct.
Yeah. So Baroness effects is actually once only when this card is face up, it can negate a spell trap monster effect, and then once per turn, it can actually destroy 1 card on the field.
Oh.
He negates Baroness, but I don't think he will choose to negate the Widow Anchor.
Alright, he passes. And
yeah, because Wai Chong has 3 spells, he can take control of the Baroness. So Hoiki has Akrasia, the Virtual Swipe, in his hand, which allows him to special summon itself when your opponent controls a monster and you don't, right? So then you can use the effect, and he's trying to bring out another Swordsoul, but it's negated by Wai Chong's Ash Blossom. Everyone's Ash Blossom is very timely in this game.
Yeah, they've been putting a lot of work in this game.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
and Hoiki is going to banish his 3rd copy of the Ash Blossom from his deck.
Yes.
Using Nobleman of... it's not Nobleman of Crossout, it's the Crossout Designator.
Hoiki is now all out of Ash Blossom.
Yes, and we know he is probably unable to use Ash Blossom to negate the next Fusion Destiny that's going to appear. Okay, and the Akrasia, the Virtuous White, is actually able to resolve its effect to bring out a Swordsoul monster, probably Tai R. Yes, Tai R is being summoned. And Tai R's effect is he can banish 1 Swordsoul card or 1 Worm monster from the graveyard to special summon 1 Swordsoul token, which is their tuner. Then he can go for a level 8 Synchro play. Of course, he can go for another play, which is if he banishes the spell, right, the Great Dragon Sword appears, he can actually increase or decrease the level. But he chooses to banish the Sudden Shift to produce the token, and Sudden Shift can also produce another token if he wants to. So
now he's pondering whether to special summon the other token.
Yeah. Though guys, do know when you're watching the stream, do know that the Swordsoul tokens, right, they all have a restriction. It's where they are face up on the field, you are unable to conduct any other summons for an extra deck except for a synchro summon. So he synchro summons using one of the token and tie R into another copy of Chi Xiao. So he uses chain 1, I think it's Chi Xiao, and chain 2 is Tai R. So when Tai R is being sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, he can send one Swordsoul card or one worm monster from the deck to the graveyard. So I find that Chi Xiao's, the synchro summoning effects for the Swordsouls are very in sync with each other to even avoid cards like Ash Blossom. Even though, Wai Chong has used Ash Blossom for this turn. Okay, because Chi Xiao is chain 1 and chain 2, you can activate Tai R or even Mo Ye, right? To actually ensure that your Chi Xiao is able to search the card that you want into your hand. Which is why I guess more players are playing, what's that called? Effect Veiler. So he actually discards Tianyi from the deck. I think this is Tianyi Spirit Ashuna.
Yes, Ashuna. So for Tianyi's monster graveyard effect, you need to have a non-effect monster on your field to activate it.
Correct.
So in this case, the Swordsoul token monster
is a non-effect monster.
Yes, it will fulfill this requirement.
Oh, okay. So Hoiki actually activates the peak, alright, the Grand Spiritual Swordsoul peak, and it was negated by Wai Chong's Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. At the end of the turn, the Barons has returned control back to Hoiki.
So now it's
Wai Chong's turn.
Correct. So I think he has a very difficult matchup right now. So Hoiki has already set up his field with Baroness and Chi Xiao, the optimal play that Swordsoul wants to go for.
Correct. He has 2 negations. It's very, very hard for Wai Chong to overcome it, especially if one of his spells can be negated. And if even he brings up Kagari, it will be negated by Chi Xiao also as well.
Wai Chong passes with no plays.
Correct. Though Wai Chong has not taken any damage as of yet, he could survive this turn if Hoiki doesn't summon another monster and go for a synchro play, because the current damage on the field is actually 5,800. All he needs to do is just to bring out a monster with 2,200 and above attack points.
The game is still looking very grim for him though. He has already used up 2 Fusion Destiny, so there's not much outs he could draw into.
Right.
Especially since Sky Striker is a relatively slow deck that does not make any big counter plays.
Correct. I mean, even though there is counter plays, right, one thing that we can note is that the Widow Anchors, I think both of them are already in the graveyard.
Yes.
So the only way you can turn the table is to probably summon a Kagari, bring back the Widow Anchor and try to go for something. So now even if the top deck engage, the Sky Dragon Mobilize engage, you will not be able to help him also as well because of the Baroness of the field. So I think Hoiki is looking up in his graveyard to see...
No, he has activated
Ashuna's effect to summon a worm, I guess, or Tianyi monster. A Tianyi monster from the deck, except for Tianyi Spirit Ashuna. So he special summons Atara. The Tianyi Spirit Atara, which is a level 1 monster, and he goes for a tribute summon of Nibiru, the primal being. Alright, and so the total damage actually 8,800 points, and this seals the first game for Hoiki, and they are going to proceed into their side decking.
This is something you don't see often, a Nibiru being
tribute summon, yes.
Going for the game.
Yes. I mean, he has to find a way to go for a monster that has about 2,200 above attack points. Yeah, in order to seal game. But I mean, one thing I saw from Wai Chong is perhaps he was trying too hard on the first game to go for that Sky Striker advantage at the start. Maybe he wanted to go for Hayate and all this, but I think, would you have considered making that play or just going for Fusion Destiny instead because you have Mystic Mind on the field? What do you think, Jason?
I think your suggestion does make sense. So maybe opening up Mystic Mind is a possible play that could have a very different turnout.
Correct. I felt that this, because it could be because I'm being a bit biased, because I mean Hero is my favorite team, but Destroy Phoenix Enforcer to me really generates a lot of advantage, especially since he can destroy cards, and even if Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is being destroyed by the Swordsoul sudden shift, in that first game, it will be able to revive itself anyway. So I think it would be a very good play to have opened with the Mystic Mine first, then activate the Fusion Destiny. Then you are not really scared of the Ash Blossoms any point of time later in the game, unless of course if you drop on Engage and you want to use Engage. So you can see that I think Wai Chong has finished siding and is now shuffling. He's doing a power shuffle, and Hoi Ki is still deciding what to go for. So in this case, let's look at both players' deck lists and see what might be the possible cards that they'll side in against each other. So shall I start with Hoi Ki?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at Hoi Ki's side deck. If I were to say there's anything that is possible to use against a Sky Striker, it should be cards like Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, or evenly matched.
Yes, he'll be looking to get rid of the back rows of Sky Striker.
Correct.
So, especially since Sky Striker will be able to generate massive advantage from multi-row, you want to have an out to be able to get rid of their back row.
Correct. And I suppose in this game, when since Wai Chong actually lost the first game, right, he could be, or very high possibility of him opting to go first in this game. And because if you're going to go first and you're trying to generate that much advantage, you will already side in things like Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, even evenly match against a Sky Striker to clear off their board. But I think Hoi Ki, who knows, he might just give up the Lightning Storm, right? And just go straight only for evenly match. Because I think we have a new card from the Burst of Destiny, the King of the Sky Prison. So that card is actually, as mentioned, is able to prevent set cards. Both players set spell and trap cards from being destroyed, right? Or actually, set cards, even monsters. Monsters also as well. So Lightning Storm is not a very good card against the King of Sky Prison. So evenly match is better in banishing everything else. But I mean, if you want to go all out hatred against the Sky Striker, then I guess siding even this Lightning Storm in is plausible as well. Then as we look at Wai Chong, what cards do you think he'll side against Hoi Ki in this matchup? I think he has stuff like, example, Gamma Cell. He has a Kaiju Gamma Cell. He probably will side in a Nibiru and Token Collectors inside the deck. I've got a question for you. Looking at Hoi Ki's side deck, right, he also has Token Collector. Do you think he'll side in Token Collector against Wai Chong also as well?
He only plays one copy of Token Collector. I think that's
for cross-out Designator?
Correct.
I think that could be a choice. Alright, so the game has started, and Wai Chong is going first, opening with a Fusion Destiny.
Yet again.
And Hoi Ki does not have Ash Blossom.
Finally, Fusion Destiny resolved.
Yes, he goes
able to bring out
the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Actually, I kind of like the Japanese name more. Destroy Phoenix guy. But okay, we shall go with Phoenix Enforcer for this stream. So he sends Dasher as well as Celestial to the graveyard and places the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer into the extra monster zone. But this means that Wai Chong's Sky Striker plays are limited now. He cannot link summon any Sky Strikers this turn. He sets 2 cards at his turn and he passes his turn over to Hoi Ki. Actually, we are able to see Hoi Ki's hand from here. And he has the ultimate side deck card against Sky Striker, Imperial Order.
Yes, but
that's Destroy Phoenix Enforcer already on the field.
Correct.
And it will probably get destroyed by it the moment he opens the Imperial Order. Right, he also has Long Yuan as well as Acrisia, the Virtuous in white in his hand. I think Hoi Ki is probably thinking how is he able to bait the cards behind, because I think looking at Wai Chong's deck, there can be only one in the main deck as well. I'm not sure whether he did side it out, but since he's going first, he probably has it side in. Yes, there can be only one, which actually prevents Swordsoul plays from producing tokens and generating more advantage.
Hold on a moment. He went straight into the battle phase and right into the end of battle phase.
Evenly matched.
Straight from the hand.
As expected, he did side in the evenly match, but the only card is the set card over there. So I guess that card most probably is there can be only one to seal off the Swordsoul plays. But if Hoi Ki wants to play a bit more conservative, maybe he can maybe summon Long Yuan, force the play for there can be only one, then set down the Imperial Order and just buy his time over to the next few turns. Though if he wants to activate the Great Dragon Sword appears, he needs to do it now before he activates his Imperial Order in the next few turns.
Interestingly, Wai Chong does not activate the effect of destroy Phoenix Enforcer to destroy his own cards. What do you think of it?
Actually, if he destroys his own cards, right, then he doesn't need to actually banish it because of it.
Alright.
He should have done that.
Yeah.
And prevent it from being destroyed. So Hoi Ki actually activates the Long Yuan effect by discarding another Long Yuan. Okay, and it's being stopped by there can be only one. Right? So Accretia, the Virtuous in white, and Long Yuan are both going for, I guess it's a Synchro Summon. I think Virtuous in white is a tuner, right? Yeah, it is a tuner, so he's probably going for a Synchro Summon of Baroness. Baroness de Fleur. And this is very good play because Baroness de Fleur is able to destroy, there can be only one on its field. Luckily, all of the monster types are all different from each other,
Alright.
so the Synchro Summon can be performed.
This is a very rare occurrence, but indeed it does happen.
Correct. So he destroys there can be only one, which opens the gate again for Hoi Ki if in this turn he wants to do any more Swordsoul plays. Though take note, he has already normal summoned the Accretia, the Virtuous in white. He has activated Long Yuan's effect to special summon. So did he add to his hand Mo Ye, the Sword Master?
I believe so.
Okay, we are a little bit blinded by the
glare
in the sleeve. So he sets down one card and his turn. I don't think it'll be Shannon Shi. Yes, it is Imperial Order. He was left with Imperial Order in his hand, so he set down the Imperial Order, which can seal the game for Sky Strikers.
Yes. Wai Chong plays Terraforming.
And Hoi Ki, just activate it. I mean, just activate it. If there is a Cosmic Cyclone by Wai Chong, he will chain it over to your Imperial Order. He's giving it some thought. Thought. We all know if a Sky Striker really sees the Imperial Order, it's most of the time game over for them.
Oh, he decided to pass and let it resolve.
But why though? He actually allows more generating of few spells for this.
Yeah.
If he activates, right, and Wai Chong counters with Cosmic Cyclone, he actually can negate Cosmic Cyclone with Baroness, right? Because he has two negations, he should have done that. Okay, so now if we take a look at, he actually searched for the base.
Area 0.
Yeah, Area 0, the Sky Striker base Area 0. So Area 0 is able to select one card on his field, then excavate a top 3 for any Sky Striker cards, and if he does excavate any Sky Striker cards, he will send a card that he target to the graveyard. At this point of time, alright, the Area 0 activates the effect, target a face down monster, and is being negated by Imperial Order.
This is a devastating blow to Wai Chong, and he concedes immediately.
Yes, and Wai Chong has unfortunately lost this match against Hoi Ki.
Yeah.
I think what really sealed the deal over here was Imperial Order. Right. And the eventing match as well. I guess.
Say goodbye, loneliness.